everyone, and welcome to the post-race analysis show. What an absolute race we've just had. Please, if you are in chat away, because otherwise this won't be as fun. Obviously, we want to have as much sort of comments from you guys. But first, alongside me, as you can see to the bottom of me this time, to the bottom of me is Mr. Hello down there. Air 5. Boom, boom. I don't know how we do it. Okay, I'm doing it the wrong way. But no, Jack, what a race we have just witnessed. Like, it is absolutely unbelievable. I am still shaking from it. Obviously, getting all this ready, getting that report. That final few stages were absolutely just breathtaking.
Well, yeah, it is basically the final few stages, because the first 15-20 minutes of that race was just kind of a letdown, really. Nothing really happened, and I think Jack summed it up in commentary a lot as well, because he turned 30, and you're supposed to become an adult at 30. I think it's 31. So yeah, but yeah, I think I think it was a little bit of a slow burner, which you may notice if you read the article from yours truly on the race. No, it was a decent race, which was good, but it took a while to get going. But when it got going, it went so hard and it was so good. Proper Formula E race that was.
I was worried. I was like, oh my god, all this anticipation, all this hype, live shows, all this sort of stuff. Hi Joe, thank you. Yeah, I know, what a race. It was absolutely amazing. All this hype, and I just felt, oh my god, we're actually gonna get a bore fest. We're actually gonna get a bore fest, Jack.
Well, yeah. 158 days in the waiting. Yeah, the two cheaters just ramp off into the distance. It was like watching Formula One if the two cheaters were Mercedes cars. But and then suddenly there was a problem for Verne as well, which started slowing him down. I thought, okay, the full course yellow has come out. Like, it came out 30 seconds after Verne got attack mode. So yeah, no, I knew that would hinder Verne, but I didn't realise that he was nursing a problem at that time as well, and then you just saw him just like fall down and down and down the order. And yes, as Chris says, it was a really, really crazy end to the race, and that's what I love.
Absolutely crazy end. But first, we got to put some news out first. So Maximilian Gunther, if you have not heard, has been disqualified. So what I'm going to be doing as the show goes on, there should be some penalties. So I'm going to be like whizzing. So if you look like I'm looking at a screen, it's because I'm trying to just see if there's any more breaking news. Because obviously with the energy critical race that was, so because of Gunther's, as what Chris has just said, because of Max's penalty for using too much energy, Rene Rast has got a point in his debut, which, Jack, fair play. You know, he had a good race. He made a solid overtake in the middle stint there. You know, he had a good start.
You know, he's had a really good first day on the job. He beat Lucas de Grasse in qualifying, and it's just been a really, really good day for him. Then yes, as Chris says, there might still be more disqualifications yet, because I was watching all of them as they came over the line, and everyone in that pack from second, actually even Da Costa went over the line on 0.0, but I'm fairly certain he had enough, because he said in the post-race interview that the team told him just to slow down over the line and stuff. So yeah, I think I think Da Costa's fine, but everyone in that pack in the top 10 was 0.00 basically coming over the line, but I'm fairly certain that the majority of them would have been fine.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. So it doesn't matter if you are 0.0%. It's like you can be 0.0%, but you're in like now the mini sort of like decibels that is off this page, and you can't actually get it. So you can cross the line. Obviously, you have to coach. You can't use any more energy. So you can get away with it, and we've seen it before. But I don't think, Jack, we've ever seen anyone, right, or any race, finish with that amount of people on 0% energy.
Yeah, no, I don't think that we've seen it. I don't think that we've seen it a huge amount. at all. We see, as Dario has said, like the last couple of years ago, like okay, 1 or 2%, like oh, it's a bit fine, but now they are going 0, 0, 0, and then just like see how far they can get. And Da Costa was 12, 13 seconds away from just like cruising it, and then maybe just do it. I mean, like he couldn't have cruised for 12, but he couldn't have cruised for 12, 13 seconds on that penultimate lap of the race, but. But yeah, no, it was still good for it was still good to see that extra lap because it means that most of these people are going to struggle to get to the line, and so yeah, we have seen a few championship contenders fall down now because Max Gunter's got disqualified for it. Jean-Eric Vergne we'll probably go into the Jean-Eric Vergne everything later on, but also Mitch Evans he got spun out by Max Gunter, so yeah, I think the person apart from Da Costa who came out of that best was probably Stoffel Van Dorn, who had a very quiet race, but he worked his way up to the field, and I think he finished in the top 5.
Yeah, well, he finished 6th and on the road because D'Ambrosio got him right at the end. But yeah, obviously Matt, big Van Dorn fan in chat. Obviously that was a great race from him, coming all the way down from 16th to finish in 6th. So let's talk Vergne because you did it, and that was on my little notes here. What on earth happened to him? And we're thinking right there, Da Costa, right? So Antonio Felix Da Costa, it looked like he could have slowed down and, eased off. So, the team would have known Vergne was struggling on energy. That's probably why he was going backwards and backwards and backwards. He had that 1% less. Remember, and that 1% less than Antonio Felix Da Costa turned out to actually be critical for Jean-Eric Vergne. And if he did just coast maybe across the line, even slow down, just a little bit more, because he had a good cushion. He had about 5-second cushion. He could have coasted just for a little bit, maybe make it a second or two later to cross the line, and maybe Vergne wouldn't have fallen back as much as he did. And that's, I think, why Vergne was really annoyed at the end of the race. Obviously he got hit by Degrassi, but I think that was just one thing from another, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think there was more to Vergne's race than what we saw on the surface, because I think underneath the surface it does run deep. So yeah, I think there was a problem with Jean-Eric Vergne, which is unfortunate because now the double reigning champion is. He's very far behind now. I think he's got to be 60 points off his teammate now, who has extended his gap to 41. I think the only other time that we've seen 41 points at the top of the table was Jean-Eric Vergne when he was going up against Sam Bird a couple of seasons ago. But with Vergne, I think that there was a technical issue there. We don't know yet, and hopefully we will find out whilst we're on. But yeah, no, he had a terrible race, and it just went from bad to worse for him, because he fell down the order to about 8th, and then 2 corners from the end, Lucas Degrassi, I don't know what on earth he was thinking. He just dived down straight down the inside of Jean-Eric Vergne. One of them was always going to come off worse with that. And so yeah, Vergne spun, and he would have crossed the line in 18th or 19th, but instead he drove into the pits, and from what I heard on commentary, he stormed out the back of the Techeetah garage. I wasn't properly paying attention at that time because everyone had crossed the line, so I was like, okay, no, I'll start writing stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, I think this is the first time now that we're going to see Vergne, in a sense, is this starting to get to him? Because Antonio Felix Da Costa, really and truly, since he's arrived at easy for me to say Techeetah, ever since he's arrived, he's kind of had the upper hand on Jev. And this is kind of, as I said, the first time Jev has really been struggling alongside a teammate since his season 2 days, probably, at Virgin Racing. So I think that's, is that starting to play on his mind? And he wasn't really able to make much of an inroad. He was moaning. And this was another thing I found really weird that Jack Nicholls said in commentary, which I didn't understand from Jev, was, why are you moaning about his pace? Why are you moaning about Antonio Felix Da Costa's pace? Because, let's face it, it was quick enough that you had nearly a 5-second cushion over over Andre Lotterer, who was in third. Why are you worried about his race? Why don't you just worry about your own race and worry about your own energy management?
Yeah, no, Vern does have tendencies to go off on one, as we've seen in the past. Yes, the last couple of years it hasn't been as much because he's been doing really well for the last 2 years. Like, even when he had that start to the season in season 5, it wasn't that great. But one thing that happened in season 5, he had a horrible start to the season, and then he did so well from whatever the race from after Hong Kong, Sanya onwards last season. He had a fantastic run, and yes, hasn't started well in Berlin, but he's gonna want to come back tomorrow and prove the doubters wrong. I reckon Vern will be on for. I reckon Vern. Well, I said it yesterday in the FBZ show that Jean-Eric Vern was going to win one of the races, Stoffel Bandel was going to win the other. Got that wrong, but got the team right. So kind of. You said Ollie Rowland, then he got a 20 place penalty.
Well, I said Ollie Rowland for the second race, so there's still hope. There's still hope.
What did you say for?
I said Mitch Evans, so that didn't go down too well. But we got to talk about Tech Cheetah in this sense, in terms of are they now? I have to, if you think of qualifying, because how close qualifying was in terms of its attempts and how close each group was. But Tech Cheetah, despite being 1-2 and obviously dominating the early stages of that race, like it was like a Mercedes. You couldn't believe that. You thought, oh my God, we're going to have 6 races of Tech Cheetah at the top. And you know what? Yes, maybe Vern ran into some problems today, but I can see a repeat performance tomorrow. What's going to change between now and tomorrow in terms of their pace? I can't see anything.
I can't see much either, and that's why I'm a little bit worried, because as I've made abundantly clear, I am a fan of the sport. I don't really support teams or drivers. I want to see the best show it can possibly be. And one thing that's detrimental to Formula One over the last few years is you going into a race and knowing, okay, it's Lewis, okay, it's Nico. That kind of that. So in that Mercedes in that 2014-2016 era, that's what didn't help. Yes, in 2017 Ferrari got involved in everything, but yeah, no, that going into a race weekend and going like, okay, it's going to be one of 2 drivers. That's one thing that I don't really like at all. The gap is nowhere near the advantage of what Mercedes have in Formula One. No way whatsoever. But it's still concerning that that in what is basically a spec series, that Cheetah have done so well. I mean, like, props to them. I will not moan and whinge because Cheetah doing so well. Why don't you disqualify them? Because I've seen some people do that for Mercedes. Just no. But no, you need to applaud that they're doing well, and then just keep your fingers crossed that everyone's going to catch up. But yeah, no, I mean, we will not get to Cheetah win all these 6 races. If they do, I will do a shoey on the FEZ show after. So.
Well, you could do it on the live show, right?
I could do it on the live.
On the live show of the last final race.
Yeah.
Find out.
I'll do that.
There we go. That's sorted. But I don't know. Yes, things can change, and obviously we go back to the traditional layout, and we've got the new layout, and you never know, that might favour things. But when you've got Mitch Evans, who, we were talking about him as the main title rival going into this series with Antonio Felix da Costa, and him saying we've been about 3-4 attempts off the pace, and you're like, well, we're at 1 place and we're doing it then, and then we're just going in the other direction. So if Jaguar are off the pace, BMW look nowhere, and we'll get into that soon. Like, and Jev, as we're saying, is 60 points behind. Who is going to fight Antonio Felix da Costa? He is actually, at the moment, he is on course. As he said at the beginning of the weekend yesterday, I just need to be consistent. I need to score points, and he'll bring it home. And, the Grand Slam, the ultimate Grand Slam today. Pole position, fastest in every group qualifying, fastest lap, and the race win. Took full house 30 points. Like, who is going to stop him?
Hopefully someone. It is just one of those, you just keep your fingers crossed. I think the fact that they're on the same track, I think might be okay. And that sounds weird, but hear me out. One thing, because I met David Crofty, who does the Formula One commentary. He said last year one thing that kind of stuck with me is like, if you don't change the regulations in Formula One, eventually everyone will catch up. So I think if we stay at the same track, to Cheetah will have less to find, and Jaguar have more to find and try and get to those levels. So hopefully that's something that we're going to have over the next 5 races. Yesterday looked very strong for Cheetah on one side of the garage, and then looked good for a fair amount of time on the other side of the garage. But yeah, no, we know that Cheetah are going to look heavily into what happened on Vern's car and see what the issue was. And so, yeah, no, tomorrow they could be bulletproof. But the fact that we're going the other way and then we're adding another section, who knows? Who knows? I think now I'm going to say I'll be surprised if in 8 days' time Antonio Felix da Costa isn't the Formula E champion. But I could see someone from a different team taking it to the wire.
Who?
Maybe Mitch. Maybe Sam. Sam had a massive swing. Maybe John Eric Verne. Maybe John Eric Verne can claw that 60 point gap. I don't know. I think we will see it come down to next Thursday, because that's what usually happens in Formula E.
I hope you're right, because look, let's look at what happened to Mitch Evans today, Jack. Because he didn't have the best qualifying. He didn't have a bad race. He didn't have a bad race at all. Stuck behind Felipe Massa, managed to get past him, fair play, and then obviously got kind of done. So how this spin managed to happen with him and Gunther, Van Dorn on attack mode, and we're going to talk attack mode in like 1 second, and then all of a sudden Van Dorn's passed him and he's sort of squeezed Evans out, and Buemi's had a go. Evans tried to keep the door open onto the rough stuff. Backs off, Gunther smash, bam, race over. Something like that could happen to Da Costa. You can't rule that out. But the only thing where you can rule that out is if he's out front and there's no one else can challenge him. And that's what we need. We need desperately tomorrow. We need Jaguar to come back. We need BMW to show something. We need Virgin to, keep improving. Because at this precise moment, yes, we wanted to go down to the wire. We've built this up. We've built this up with the Grid Network people, and Formula E were doing the exact same thing. 9 days, 6 races, 1 champion, 3 layouts, whatever, right? Rubbish if it's done by the end of Sunday.
No, we've never had a Formula E championship finish outside the final doubleheader. And the only time that it's ended on the first leg of the doubleheader was John Eric Verne in season 4. Even last year when Verne won the title, he had a stellar end to the season, and it went to the Sunday race because of that massive pileup in New York. And so the beauty of Formula E, and I've said this I've said this like 3 dozen times to you like the last couple of days. But you just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. Tomorrow, Da Costa might have an issue, and suddenly everyone's back into it. I'd say it's rather unlikely, but yeah, that's the thing. You cannot predict Formula E. I will never bet on Formula E. I have bet on Formula One.
But yeah, let's talk attack mode, because attack mode absolutely changed this race. Because, if we go back to those beginning stages, it was like, it was kind of dull. It was very cagey. We were worried. You text me saying, I've only written 3 things for my notes. And I'm like, I've written 4. And I said, but don't worry, Formula E will do something. It always happens. And by God did it. Because the attack mode, and this is why I think the attack mode has actually been a brilliant idea, because it just makes the race more entertaining. Andre Lollerer, casually running in 3rd. Sebastian Buemi not doing too bad as well in 4th. And they missed the activation point. They missed the first sensor. and we'll talk about how on earth, Antonio Felix da Costa didn't miss that one attack in the attack mode. But oh my god, that was crazy, and it changed the race because it allowed the freeze to come through from nowhere, and it just changed the complexity of the race a bit.
Yeah, no, the attack mode today was pretty mental. I don't know how on earth Antonio Felix da Costa didn't like mess that up. But yeah, no, on Andre Lotterer in the post race interview with Vernon Kay on the World Feed, he was dejected because he missed that and finished second. And I'm sitting there going, you wouldn't have won. You wouldn't have won because Da Costa was just so powerful. Even if he hadn't missed that, Da Costa was too far in front because they were yet to be neutralized by the safety car and the full course yellow at the time. So yeah, it was so I don't see where Lotterer thinks he would have won that race. I think Lotterer had the best day he could have done. And think about it, it's only his second point scoring finish of the season because the only other time that he scored points this season was at the first race in Diriyah or when he got that pole in Mexico. For Lotterer, it's basically doubled his tally in the championship, and so he's had a fairly decent day. And for Sam, he's picked up a couple 10th places in third, and he got a third today. So it was it was a good race. From I don't know what happened with Buemi missing it, missing the attack mode. And I don't think did Buemi finish 8th or something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, he was down there like 7th, 8th. I think he was like
around there.
7th.
So, but he was. The thing is, he qualified well. He qualified 4th, but every time I saw him on screen, he was dropping back. The only time where he wasn't dropping back was when he had a go at Lotterer at the start of the race.
Yeah. I don't know. As I said, I think the attack mode though as itself really opened the race because obviously then you had Sam Bird coming through the field and he hadn't taken it yet. Nick de Vries obviously he managed to overtake Lotterer from it. So I think the attack mode section has actually been, has really changed that race and it made it really interesting. And obviously with Bird at the end having to take attack mode and having to push and the way that he was pushing Jack was great, and obviously with all the manic stuff basically behind him, I couldn't get my word out. With John-Eric Verne, he managed to just pull and actually then get past and move on. So I thought that was actually really good from Sam Bird in order to utilize he was the last man basically to take the second attack mode. So I really think attack mode played a huge part in this race.
Yeah, no, attack mode really did, and the positioning of the attack mode, I remember saying on the FEZ show that they should probably change it to a place that's going to be on every single layout. But no, it did really work well today because I suggested it round that long, around the long Shanghai section because people would have to go out really wide for the either way you come around it. So but no, today it worked really well. I'm not sure how they're going to incorporate it for the final layout next Wednesday, Thursday. But no, they did do but yeah, no, the attack mode today was tough because we saw everyone losing positions. Antonio Felix da Costa. I will say it again. How on earth did he get that attack mode by basically just kind of oversteering into it? And he's basically found where the 3 loops are, and so he's going to be drifting into there every single time now, 100%.
I think so, and I like when we saw it and that was the beauty of the attack mode because when we saw it, even Jack Nicholls was like, "Oh, he's missed it," and I was like, "Yes, he's missed it. Oh, somehow he's got it." I was like, "How have you managed to get it?" And fair play to Antonio Felix da Costa because he's obviously managed to find a line, as Jack Nicholls was saying, which activates the sensor, but he's actually not crossing that blue line and is obviously gaining some time from it. So fair play to the lad. Let's talk Mitch Evans.
I would just like to say though, like I said earlier on the earlier stream, not a great commentator, mate. I'm sorry, but
What, me?
Yes, you.
What was wrong with my commentary?
You get too excited. I'm the same. You get too excited and stumble over your words.
Yeah, I know. I do that
Yeah,
as well.
no, I do that.
I do that, but when things go fast, you just, you're trying to keep up, especially when you're playing stream races, which maybe we'll do a little bit of later. But anyway,
Possibly, yeah. No,
moving
it's
on to
fun.
Mitch, moving on to Mitch Evans. Okay, what about his mentality now going into tomorrow, because it's a huge setback, like a huge setback. He was going in thinking, right, I got to attack, I've got to try and get back on terms with Antonio Felix da Costa, and it goes wrong. How does he pick himself up for tomorrow?
Um, I think. Well, for Mitch Evans, yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Um. Yeah. No. He just kind of had a really off day. Amazingly, he's still second in the championship. I was fairly certain that he would have lost. He would have lost that to a Van Dorn or someone like that. But no, he is still second in the championship. I think he's only a couple points ahead of Van Dorn now. But no, I think yes, today will have been frustrating. But like whenever someone has a frustrating day, they're going to be more determined to do well tomorrow. So, yeah, no, I can see. I think for Mitch, it can't get much worse than today. So, I think whatever happens tomorrow, it will go well. And we've seen him come through the field in the last two races now. He came from the back in Marrakesh because he didn't set a lap time in qualifying, and he came straight through the field, and he was probably the fastest man in Marrakesh. But Antonio Felix da Costa led from the start, and Mitch Evans was at the back. So yeah, no, we've seen him. Yeah, we've seen him come through the field in the last two races really well. Providing that there isn't a German BMW willing on taking him out tomorrow, I think it should be okay.
Let's talk about BMW as you bring them up then. So BMW, they were. I think they're still second in this drivers' championship. Okay, they've just lost some points from Gunther, but I don't think that was enough for Mercedes to then overhaul them. They only picked up 5, and this is a team that we thought. Roger Griffiths at the beginning of the weekend was like, okay, we've got to make these gains. We're hopeful that we've made these gains, and Sims wasn't a great qualifying, but to be fair, Gunther qualifying wasn't much better, and they didn't really do much in the race. They never really showed. Yes, they tried, they made some moves, they made some overtakes, but it was down in the midfield. They never really stretched their legs. They never really did a Sam Bird, did a Lucas Di Grassi. Fair play to Lucas Di Grassi, like he was coming through the field. But as I said, we were hoping that BMW could take the fight to Tech Cheetah like they were doing at the beginning of the season, and all of a sudden it looks like it's gone. And I don't know what, a home race, and he's got 6 of them. And if it's going to continue like this, they're going to fall down the order very quickly.
I don't think it is going to continue like this. I think because I'll say it again, just because Ed said that I need to find a new catchphrase. Formula E is really unpredictable, so you never know what's going to happen in it. There we go.
Maybe we should do a drinking game.
No, this is going to turn into a drinking game very, very quickly. But yeah, no. BMW, I think they'll pick them. I think they will pick themselves up. And the thing is, like, even though we're staying in Berlin, one of them's the other way around, and one of them's got a new section. So, I don't think it's all lost for all these other. I don't think it's all lost for all these other teams. But no, I do think that Techeetah won't be dominating as much as possible. I don't think BMW will win another race this season, but if they can snag a podium, it does look like they've fallen into basically what is the midfield, even though it's hard to have a midfield in Formula E. But yeah, no, they will be scrapping for points and maybe the odd podium, I think, over the next 5 races.
Let's talk Alexander Sims very quickly, because he's a driver under pressure, rightly or wrongly, whatever your opinion is. Okay, with Alexander Sims, I don't think he did badly. He picked up that 10th place, probably 9th now, after Gunther's penalty. So did pick up some points. So yes, they managed to get back into the lower end of the points. There's always rumours, and I think it's quite wrong, and so now I'm getting to my opinion of it, that there's always talk of him being replaced. Yes, he didn't have a good qualifying performance today, and he does need to sort that out if he wants to keep his drive at BMW. But if BMW struggled and Gunther didn't really do much, I don't see how you can potentially replace Sims.
No, I can't see another driver out there. I think think Joel Eriksson was part of the BMW program, but now he's the reserve driver at Dragon. I don't think that's feeds. But then again, it wouldn't be the first driver that BMW nabbed from Dragon. But yeah, but and that seemed to work well so far, apart from today, where the only time we saw Max Gunter was with Freins and then with Evans. So and then he got disqualified at the end of it. So yeah.
Should we be worried though for BMW? Should we be worried? Like the pace just wasn't there today. You know, when we come back and do this tomorrow, if they're not there, if they're not here tomorrow, should we be worried?
As I said, I don't think they're going to win another race, and I think they may get an odd podium if they're lucky, but I don't think that because we saw at the start of the season they were the force to be reckoned with. We saw Alexander Sims take both poles in Diriyah. We saw him take the second race in Diriyah, and also Max Gunter took Santiago as well. BMW I think have fallen off a bit, but I think Techeetah have gone up a lot. I think and if I were BMW, I wouldn't be worried because I think they've got enough of a stranglehold onto this like top 3-4 position in the championship. But then again, we are now over the halfway point of the season. We have now had 6 races with 5 to go instead of 5 races with 6 races to go, which we've had for the last 158 days. But I think BMW they do need to look themselves. They do need to sort themselves out because today was not a class showing whatsoever. But I'm confident that they're going to come back. They won't win a race, I don't think, but they will be there or thereabout, and they might snag a podium. I've said it again. Genuinely,
So
I'm being wound up. I'm say the same thing.
Do we think Mercedes then? Let's move on to Mercedes. Do we think Mercedes are then the team that are more likely to then mount a challenge? Let's look at Van Dorn. Yet again, poor qualifying, but we know how quick Van Dorn is, and it was a great job, to get back. Nick de Vries, your best mate, because you keep forgetting about him. That was an inside joke.
Right. I like the dude. I just forgot him on that show.
Yep, you did. But what a great race. Fastest in practice too. An absolutely great qualifying session. And then he comes out in a race sometimes a bit dodgy defending against Andre Lotterer. But overall, to come home in 4th, I think, for Nick de Vries, what a result. And Mercedes, they're getting better and better each race.
It's a good result for Nick de Vries. He hasn't had that many points this season, which surprised me because he's always done so well over the races. But I think he only really scored in that first Diriyah race in Santiago, and so he hasn't. And so he's been down the lower lengths of the championship. I'm not sure if he went in Group 2 or 3 today, but in qualifying, but yeah, no, I think he's coming out. I think Nick de Vries is still learning. Remember, he's a rookie. Because I need to remember that he's a rookie. But yeah, no, Stoff. I think Stoff has a chance. I think Stoff has a chance to win over the next 5 races. But
and I don't think we can count de Vries out because, as Chris says quite well in the chat, he was, remember Santiago, right? He finished on the podium that day. So he overtook Mitch Evans. Okay. To finish on the podium, but then had the power spike. He's had a lot of technical infractions which has caused him to fall down the order. So that's where he could have scored more points potentially at de Vries. And I think, if we're saying Stoffel Van Dorn can win a race, if Nick de Vries can hook it together and maybe Techeetah on an off day or something, I think, they could mount a surprise and maybe pick up win. If I was going to put my money, I think Techeetah are going to win the team's championship. But honestly, I think Mercedes might finish second. And for a first season, technically second because you have to remember HWA. But what a season that would be for an opening season.
Well, yeah, I mean, we saw Audi's technically first season because they were the team for the first 3 years. Their first season was season 4. And yes, it started slowly, especially for Lucas Di Grassi, who was the last full-time driver to score a point. I think even Luke Filippi scored a point ahead of him. But But we've I do reckon that Mercedes are the second best team, and I think that they will finish second in the championship, which is a fantastic job. But yeah, no, Stoff needs to qualify a bit better because I do think he has potential. Yes, he's more a race man than a qualifier because you do have to like some people are better at qualifying, some people are better in the race. But no, Stoff is a race man. If he focuses on that qualifying, because it's hard to do qualifying in Formula E, you only get one lap, and if your lap's quick enough, then you get to have another lap. So yeah, no, it's so yeah, I think qualifying is really hard to master in Formula E. So yeah, it's I do have faith that Stoff. I think he will be the one that he's going to be second to Da Costa this year at the end of at the end of these 6 races. Antonio Felix Da Costa will win, and then Stoffel Van Dorn second. I think Mercedes have the car to do that.
I think the chances are there. Like, that team is improving, and going into next season, I think Mercedes will be a team that will be feared, and maybe that will be the team that we'll be looking at to sort of mount the challenge to Tech Cheetah. I'm really struggling to say that. It's always been a tongue twister for me. Tech Cheetah always has been.
I remember in Battersea Park in 20.
They weren't even born then.
No. It was season 2 Battersea Park. Because because after the race, Nichols came into the pub that a few of us were in, and they'd released the entry list that day, and obviously Aguri was gone and Tachita was there, and so yeah, we actually had to ask Jack Nichols, how do you pronounce that name? And I think he called it Takita. So yeah.
Silver Linings. It's a tricky name. But I don't know. I think we're coming towards the end. Let's just talk about the track layout. I think one of the last things to talk about. And also, if you're in chat, we've got quite a few people in chat. I know you've probably been listening to away with us, like gripped to what we would been talking about.
Nichols in the pub, I can see where this is going. No, yeah. Genuinely, I'd buy Nichols a drink.
Of course you would. But as I was saying, like, if you're in chat and you want to just ask us some questions and stuff like that, we're happy to answer them. And if you've got any thoughts or any opinions on the race or what you thought happened, obviously it's been great to see Ed and Chris and Matt, say things in chat. But if you want to come and say something to us, feel free, because we'd love to obviously answer your questions and get you a bit more involved, because it does feel like
I looked over a while ago and saw the numbers on double figures. So
yeah, it's good. It's good that lots of people here. But we want to see what you thought of the race. What grade maybe you'd give it out of 10,
and
and stuff like that.
And just like any questions, because we probably don't have the answers.
But what we were hoping for, what I was hoping for with this live show, is that Formula E was supposed to do some post-race interviews with certain drivers and upload it to the media store. And I was hopeful that we would be able to show them to you, because I would be allowed to. I have them. Jack, what happened to F1 Breakdown? Oh my God, you must be like the oldest person in the history.
Wow. Yeah,
you must be the oldest person in the history of persons to actually say that. F1 Breakdown. F1 Breakdown was.
That was when I first met you in early.
Probably.
14.
That is a blast from the past. F1 Breakdown was my first ever experience into journalism. But thank you so much, Carsten. I don't know who you are. Okay. But if you know me that well and you haven't hit the follow button yet, I'm a bit upset because you need to seriously know me to understand who I was from and from F1 Breakdown. So hit the follow button, and then I'd love to have a chat, and maybe I'll put the Discord link in.
Can I go extremely off topic and
of course
just have a one-on-one with you for a second, Jack? Because basically we both know Avi, don't we?
Of course we do.
And
that can't be Avi.
No, it's not. But Avi said last week that if Nico Hulkenberg was the one to replace Sergio Perez, he's going to do a drunk stream on Twitter or Facebook or Twitch or something like that. Today he confirmed that, and he's doing it after the F1 on Sunday. So there's some entertainment on Sunday.
What a legend! I'm still waiting for your follow, Carsten. But yeah, Wow, I wasn't expecting that to pop up in the chat. What was I going to talk about? So, last thing I want to talk about in terms, what did you think of the track layout, the reverse layout? Because I was a bit worried towards the start that it just didn't, because it's the other way round, right? To how it's traditionally built for, like, when we were going into turn one, the overtakes, it looked like it couldn't happen. It was always a tight squeeze, like it was really forced, like they were locking up, like it looked a challenge to overtake. And I think the energy management, if it wasn't for energy management, if we didn't have the reduction, let's say it was back in old Formula E days when we didn't have the reduction, I think we wouldn't have seen any overtaking towards the end, and it wouldn't have been as a frantic race as it was if it wasn't for those energy deductions.
I'll be honest, I forgot energy reduction. No, you can't say it. I can't say it. Reductions. I forgot that was a thing. And when when Nickel said it on commentary, I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing. But no, when they first announced that last year, I was like, are you sure? And then now I've seen it throughout this season. I'm like, okay, yeah, no, I get it. So yeah, yeah, it did work out because like after that full course yellow, it was frantic. It was so frantic, and when that full course yellow went in, that's when everything started. That's when Verne started having problems. That's when Van Dorn started coming up through the field, and so yeah, no, it was it was absolutely fantastic because I love me some madness. So yeah, no, it was fantastic. But going going that way around the track, I mean, like we discussed it on the FEZ show. I wasn't too big on it, and I think I've been sold today on it. Because one thing that I noticed last night, even when they were doing shakedown, that the camera angle of the Shanghai section, the other way round is far better. I love that section, but it's the other way around. I don't know what it is about it, but that's one thing that I absolutely loved.
I think it did run well the other way around. I think obviously it runs good the traditional way, but I think it set up the lap, and I thought it was the technical section that we were hoping for in terms of trying to sell up pass in turn one. But sometimes we didn't see pass in turn one because the track just on the inside fades away because it's not meant to. The corner's supposed to open up to the outside, and it was fading away. So you saw it was literally like Dan Deere on the brakes to get the move done. So I think it was not too bad. I think the drivers were expecting it to be worse, but hey ho, we had a decent race. So I think that pretty much wraps everything up in terms of our main talking points. It's an absolute shame. Let me just go and check actually while we're here now, just in case if any more penalties have been released, because I've just been refreshing it during the stream.
Because yeah, I'll be honest, I was only informed of Gunther's disqualification about 30 seconds before we came on air. However, there's been some stuff. There's been some stuff. Jack Giordmaina, what is it?
Eduardo Mortara has been given a drive-through penalty converted into 18 seconds, and 2 penalty points awarded in total for causing a collision. I don't know what the collision Eduardo Mortara caused in that race, but he has been caused a collision.
We're useless.
I have no idea what collision he's done. I don't even know. That's number 13. So that's happened while we've been on it. Daniel App, speeding under full course yellow. He was under investigation for this. Has been given a 5-second time penalty and 1 point awarded. He has 5 points on his license. During the full course yellow, the driver did not slow down to 50 kilometers within 5 seconds, not gaining an advantage. So that has happened. Another one, Sergio Sette Camera. The total energy was over the regulatory limit, so he used too much energy. He's been disqualified from the race, just like Thingy Majiji, what's his face? Gunther. And I'm sure this one must be James Collado. Alleged breach of speeding under full course yellow, no further action. Interesting. I suppose Muller's one, he hasn't been disqualified from the race because he didn't finish the race, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Muller was also the other one.
Is there anything on the Degrassi Verne?
Nothing on Degrassi Verne yet. Okay, so the technical
is it under investigation?
I can't see from this bulletin board if it is under investigation, but
It should be, because I think that was bang out of order. I saw it and thought 10 place penalty for tomorrow.
for Degrassi on Verne.
Yeah, Degrassi on Verne on that final lap.
Because it was
Move.
on the final lap, so I
It
don't
was
think anything came
pathetic.
up to say. I know, I agree with you, but I don't think anything came up to say that it was a what was it like a it was under investigation. It may be under investigation after the race, and no like message came up. But that's interesting. So the actual final result, boys and girls, is not out yet. So that tells me that there's still things coming. They haven't finished all the penalties yet, and I had a feeling like it's so typical Formula E that in a race like this where it was so energy critical, that there was going to be so many penalties that came from this.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I do hope that one's under investigation. As just said in the chat that apparently Verne hit Mortara hit Verne. But Mortara finished 11th. So like all those penalties you named affects nothing because they were all outside the points.
Yeah, that's.
But
fine.
no, I'm pretty sure Degrassi snagged the point. So I do hope that is under investigation. But apparently he was responsible for the Evans spin. No, that was Max Gunther.
I think that was Gunther, but unless Mortara did something into Gunther to then make Gunther spin, then unless that's what they've given
it was Mortara, Gunther, Evans.
So unless they've made Mortara responsible for the Evans crash and not Gunther,
Yeah,
I don't know.
No.
That's the only thing I can say from that, boys and girls.
So
I don't know
it was
if that's true
Mortara
or not.
going into the back of Gunther, going into the back of Evans, which spun him. Is what I'm understanding from Ed's description of he
But if that's true or not, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. There may be a separate incident. It didn't say what incident. I can't remember Mortara ever being under investigation. I can't remember a replay of Mortara crashing into someone, so I don't know. But Ed, you did ask a question ages ago. We'll get to it very quickly. Did Daniel Abt do well to keep up with Oliver Turvey today? Both Neos beat the Dragons, even if they didn't score points. Yes, I think Abt did quite well to keep up with.
When did he send that? Was that like 20 minutes ago?
Yeah, I hadn't got to it. We were talking about other things, so I think we might as well come back to it now. But I think Daniel Abt is. I think the Neos. I think it showed. We were reminded. Even Jack Nichols was trying to give him some hope during the thing. That's what Tobias says. Fair play. Okay, I trust Tobias.
No.
Sorry, Ed. I do trust.
Don't trust Ed. Don't trust Ed. Trust Tobias.
That's not. Yeah, I trust Tobias.
Did you tell him that we're doing this? Or just
I haven't told him. He knows that we do. Yeah, we can get him on, but obviously I know he's busy.
Just like he can have us in the background. He can do his stuff and just have us in the background.
Yeah, he's extremely busy. He was on the live ticker all day today for E4MLD. So
yeah, no,
obviously doing these things and with other media. Obviously, if we were doing this at the track, which we would have loved to have done, it would have been better. But and we could have maybe got more people in from the media center. But everyone's gone doing their own things. Everyone's in their own houses, doing what they want to do. Fair play. But I think Abt did an all right job. That Neo is atrocious. I think Neo, if they did beat Dragon, that's what we said after the qualifying show. That was probably a race win for them. And if they were both cars were able to do that, job done in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I am worried for Neo because I do think that they're not going to score a point this season. Now, I don't think it's probably possible now. But yeah, no, they've and I'm not sure because I thought about it earlier and then I didn't look it up. Has there been a team that has competed in a full season that hasn't scored a point? Because I know that Tom.
I don't think so.
I know that Tom Dillman didn't score a point last year.
But Neo did with
Turvey scored points. So yeah, and for Neo, I mean, like we kind of brushed on it. Well, you kind of brushed on it after qualifying. But yeah, no, because I put a question in chat and then you answered it about hopefully Neo. I would like Neo to get a a new powertrain, maybe tie up with DS or BMW or Mahindra or just so I don't know, just like
Could that turn Neo's fortunes around? Right, let's end on this, right? Could that turn Neo's fortunes around? Because, Daniel App said this car's actually not too bad, right? It's just the powertrain that stinks, right? And if it wasn't for the... Carsten, you finally found the follow button. Congratulations. Thank you so much for the follow. But let's think about this Neo-wise, right? Is there... Yeah, one more to go until 50.
Is there one more
to go.
If you haven't pressed that follow button, please do, so we can just have a little bit of a party on stream.
A party.
If you do,
technically,
I'll show you
scored no points in season 2.
If you,
that's technically true.
If you do, I'll show you Masida Tower.
Your cider tower.
Yes.
So if someone is on...
One more follow, and you see Masida Tower.
Have you got the champagne ready? Not yet, but maybe I should go and open some.
Yeah, have you got any in the house? I mean, like we've got wine or something.
Do you count Prosecco?
That'll do.
We've got plenty of Prosecco, and that's actually something I kind of like.
Shake it up, put your thumb over the top, bosh.
Yeah,
easy.
All over the bedroom.
Yeah.
All over the computer, all over the walls, freshly painted. Yeah, I'm sure my dad would love that. But anyway, just finishing off on this point.
Do it out the window. Do it out the window then. Drench everyone walking outside. Just
drench the back garden, drench the clothes on the line.
Yeah.
But for wrapping this up, final point. If Neo, right, they've got the choice of any powertrain. They could build their own, but I don't think they are. Okay, because they're not really Neo anymore, so they're very much an independent team that need to buy a powertrain. If they buy a DS powertrain, or what, I suppose that's the best powertrain at the moment to buy. Even you could say BMW is not too bad, or Audi if you're looking at Virgin, not Audi. Do you think that would change their fortunes? Do you think all of a sudden, you put a DS and all of a sudden Oliver Turvey and Daniel Abt are fine for points?
Well, I'd say definitely points. I wouldn't say much more than points, but no, we've seen it happen before. Customer teams do better than factory teams, because we saw season 4 Cheetah with the Renault engine. Renault had a rather tragic year in season 4. The only year Sebastian Buemi hasn't won a race, and Nico Prost got like 7 points or something. But yeah, no, I think the powertrain. If Daniel Abt says the powertrain is the main issue, then the powertrain is probably the main issue, and we should probably go with what he says. I mean, like, it's been proved over the 158 days. We shouldn't really agree with everything that Daniel says, but it's basically each to their own on that. But no, I think I think if he says that the powertrain's the main issue, the powertrain's the main issue. They're using a 1-year-old Dragon powertrain. Now, having it 1-year-old already is bad. Dragon don't do the best powertrains either. I think last year, apart from Neo, that was the weakest powertrain. And so I think this season they just went for like the cheapest one they can find. And so I think if they want to try and get a manufacturer engine, then yeah, no, I do think I genuinely do think it is possible, and they will be able to and then they'll be able to climb up the order. I mean, like with Dragon, they create their own powertrains, but I think the general assumption is they're going to be Scuderia in a couple of years, so they'll probably have a dodgy powertrain. They'll probably have a new manufacturer powertrain.
Well, their own powertrain, because they want to build their own powertrain. It'd be really interesting to see if we can get in contact. I'm hoping to get into contact with Gianfranco Pizzuto after all of this stuff's done, to see what progress has been made and what his plans are for the off season. Now, because obviously there'll be a big off season for Scuderia E, and whatever team and what direction they want to go in, and whether or not they're still interested. Because if this team doesn't want to sell, then they don't really want to invest in another team. So I think they'll walk away, to be honest with you. Which would be a shame, because I know it sounds like, and people have said that it sounds like an off-the-wall idea, just random like Italian guy coming in and stating he's going to do this, and this. But obviously, we're so lucky, we're so fortunate that we get to speak to these people and understand these people. And from speaking to him, I had a lovely 40-minute conversation with him, and he's very down to earth, and he's got a serious plan. So, I think it could happen, but they want it to be done their way. And I have a feeling that if it can't be done their way, they will pull out.
Well,
and I think,
yeah, we know that one from that interview with Gianfranco, that one team apparently does want out. So,
and we're assuming it's Dragon because
yes,
it makes logical
it makes sense. And also, we spoke to Trevor Carlin, and he said that it's not Neo. So
yes, and yes, and he said, when we spoke to him, he said not Neo. So it's not Neo. Neo might be one of the 3 teams that Dragon Scuderia are talking to as part of investors.
Well, I wouldn't think so because they've got Laishang Racing as the team, but they still run under the Neo name.
And I think, if we could look at Dragon, for example, and how that team's being run with Jay Penske, he's coming out in the press release saying Sergio Sette Camara should be aiming for point-scoring positions. In what universe, in terms of how that car is at the moment?
I mean, Nico Muller's a good driver, and he's done he's done a fair few decent jobs. He got 7th on the grid in Mexico, but yeah, no, I don't see them getting points anytime soon.
Right, boys and girls, I think we're going to wrap it up from here. I think what we'll do is to take a break, because I think we can get 50 followers today. I really do. So we're going to take a break for about half hour, 40 minutes, I think. And then if you would like to come back, we're going to play some stream races, because why the hell not? And we'll play some stream races, and I think we can get to 50 followers tonight. And then we can have a mini celebration tonight. So I'm going to go now because I've got another show to be on at 9 o'clock, which starts in 1 minute.
Oh, Jesus, do you?
Yeah. But that's not an issue. I said I might be a bit late. But I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has been in chat today, everyone for talking, everyone who's sort of stayed for the whole hour. And if you've not, talked much in chat, it means the world that you're here and you're listening to us. And hopefully the more races we do, the more promo we do, the more retweets you guys keep doing on Twitter about these shows, and hopefully more people like Carsten, for example, who seems to be a really big fan of me. I probably need to check that out. Knowing when F1 Breakdown was about. I feel like, it's just absolutely amazing. So thank you so much for watching. The stream will be back, hopefully in about an hour. So if you want to come back for some stream races, it is so much fun. Jack says I can't commentate, but I think I do a pretty entertaining job. So I hope you come back and join us, because it is a hell of a laugh. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for the next live show. Ciao.